Dr. Paul and I'm the chairman of Dkms in India. Our mission is to help every patient who suffers from blood cancer or blood disorders and to give them a second chance. For this we need more donors who register under Dkms Asia because we want to support every patient with a matching donor. 2 less donors registered in India, so we need much more.
Hello, I am Dr. Siddesh Kalantri. I am bone marrow transplant working at Namco Hospital, Nashik. We are very proud today and happy to discuss about Sameeksha's case, whose unrelated transplant was done. Got a registered donor from a Dkms registry, and not only did we get the donor from them, but we also got funding for her transplant. Looking at her after 2.5 years of transplant, she doing all her routine work and pursuing her hobbies and going to school regularly. We feel very grateful, and I would also like to thank Mr. Dilip, who has been selflessly come forward for the donation process. Here I would like to appeal everyone between the age of 18 to 55 that we should come forward and be the stem cell donors so that we can give someone else a second chance to life. Thank you.
But before we meet our protagonists, let's watch a video that captures the raw, emotional journey of a patient waiting for a match and a donor who answered the call.
I will say thank you to my donor.
हमें तो अभी कुछ एक्सप्रेस नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि क्या बोले, क्योंकि जिसने हमारी बच्ची की जान बचाई है ना, उसके लिए तो हम दिल से उसको क्या बोले ना नहीं समझ में आ रहा है। बट बहुत थैंक, क्योंकि आपकी वजह से हमारी बच्ची की जान बची है और हम उसकी आगे का सोच सकते हैं। नहीं तो हम सच्ची में मतलब जब डॉक्टर बोलते थे ना उसका लाइफ इतना नहीं है, आप उसको 21 एज तक ही उसको ये कर सकते। बट सच्ची में डॉक्टर सिद्धेश हमें जब मिले ना, तब उन्होंने हमें एक राह दिखाई कि हम उसकी लाइफ कैसे सेव कर सकते। उन्होंने हमें जैसे बोला वैसे हमने किया सब। और सच्ची में पहले डॉक्टर सिद्धेश का भी हम बहुत दिल से थैंक यू बोलना चाहते हैं उनको भी, क्योंकि उन्होंने हमें सच्ची राह दिखाई कि हमारी बच्ची की जान कैसे बचा सकते। और हम डोनर को मतलब दिलीप क्या बोले नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, बट आपको बहुत दिल से थैंक यू। आपकी मम्मा, आपकी माँ ने आपको इतने अच्छे संस्कार दिए उसके लिए। और सॉरी, थैंक यू।
It's okay, please continue with that. It's good to have these. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we can do better than that. Everybody should bring to the stage. This is it. This is why we do this. Why the team does this. But Dilip, if you could take the.
The feeling cannot be expressed. No words.
I mean, it's safe to say you've saved her life, but how has your life changed?
I mean, I feel proud of myself for doing such a good act, and so someone is getting the second chance just because of me. And I feel so proud and I feel so happy.
It's so wonderful to see both of you here together. But if you want to give one last message to anyone who hasn't taken the step to register, what would you want to tell them?
Just make up your mind. Everything is completely safe. There's nothing wrong. And when you have a chance to save someone's life, please do it. I mean, not everyone gets that chance. It's completely safe because I have done it, I've gone through it, and I'm completely happy. That feeling, it's just that only God and Mother has the ability to give birth. And when you get the chance to give rebirth to someone else in this form, please do it. There's nothing wrong and it's completely safe.
ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗನ ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಭಯ ಆಯ್ತು ಖಂಡಿತ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಮಗು ಪ್ರಾಣ ಉಳಿತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಐತೆ. ಆದರೂ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಟ್ಟರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಉಳಿತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
I think we've understood what we said, even if we don't
Do that, it's completely safe, and when you get a chance to save someone, please do it. That's what she also has told.
Absolutely. The truth is, this is why we do what we do here, and to honor this incredible bond, I would like to invite Dr. Elka on stage to felicitate our donor and our survivor. Members of the media, please feel free to take your pictures now. This is a great moment to really show the bond.
She contacted me 3 to 4 times, and finally, when I made up my mind, Sister Sameera and Matthew, I guess he is not here. They have done a great work, and I really feel proud of this organization as well.
That one day that you bunked college really paid off, Dilip. So thank you to you for deciding to do that. We also have something for Sameeksha. For your long, beautiful and healthy life ahead. And what a beautiful picture this makes.
Dkms, so I would just like to share few things about that transplant. 2021, a 7-year-old girl, Sameeksha, visited our family. Family was quite anxious at that time. Talking to them, I realized that she had thalassemia major. Till the time she reached us, at that time she had received almost more than 100 units of blood. From the age of 6 months, she has been receiving blood transfusion regularly. At that time, family did not have any matched donor and they were contemplating mud transplant. We also had COVID going on at that time, and so we thought we will defer this transplant for 1 or 2 years till the COVID is sorted. Meanwhile, we searched unrelated donor registry and we found a match. But one major barrier which we have discussed here also was the cost. So family did not have enough funds and hence a transplant was deferred. We deferred it by almost 2 years, and then somehow I got in contact with Reshma ji from Dkms, and in 2023 she asked me to research for donor, and fortunately we got a donor in Dkms. There were 2 things at that time which were very positive about having a donor through Dkms was the cost. Cost was lesser than other donor registries which was there, and for us every single rupee mattered for the family to get a transplant. So the cost was less through this, and apart from that, they offered to fund her transplant. They offered to give 3 lakh rupees for transplant, and that was like, nobody does that. You give a donor and you give money as well for doing a transplant. So we were very happy, and somehow we could take her to transplant. So Sameeksha has been receiving blood every 30 days or every 21 days, and receiving blood transfusion was part of her life. We transplanted her, and the most touching moment for me was at around day 30. There were all routine complications which happened during transplant, those happened, but around day 30 she asked me, "Doctor, it's almost a month, now I am scheduled to receive a blood transfusion," and I told her, "Sameeksha, your HB is 9 now and you do not have blood transfusion." And since then, child who has been receiving a transfusion every 21 days, now it's 2.5 years post-transplant and is transfusion. Sameeksha goes to school, she just goes to amusement parks without my permission though. I am very happy that that's happening. Did have some complications and funds related issues as well. We trained Sameeksha's mother, because every admission I take her, it's 1.5 or 2 lakh rupees they would have to spend. Sameeksha's mother could give home care and could administer injectables, ganciclovir for viral reactivation. She did that for almost a 14-day, and she was well trained like any other nurse or transplant nurse. Since her, we got in confidence and we have started giving home care to all patients post-transplant. We have done around 30 patients with a survival of around 84 or 83%. All are receiving home care post-transplant. We don't get patients to hospital for sake of increasing infections, but now we go to patients' home and then care for their routine line dressing, flushing, and then collecting sampling, and routine monitoring is also done digitally and at their patient's home. Few things I would like to thank Dkms. It's because of you our transplant program is running. You have funded more than 40 of my transplant with more than 1.2 CR funds till now, which you have done. To do a bit that return to, we did last year a donor drive, and we have done around 1,000 donors, at least directly, indirectly through various programs, maybe family drives or that. This year I again promise maybe a double or so I will try to do through our organization, and would be doing that. So thank you. At last, this would be incomplete if I don't thank Mr. Dilip, who has selflessly come forward for a patient who is not related to that. I see many times brothers and sisters are not ready. Their in-laws are barriers or their family members are barriers. They say don't donate. But this gentleman has come forward and donated to someone who he doesn't know. So that's a great thing. And I would also like to thank family of Mr. Dilip for allowing this donation to happen. The most common reason we hear is that family is not allowing. Here this was done. Thank you Dkms and thank you everyone. At last, tomorrow is World Thalassaemia Day. Cost of prevention of thalassemia is less than 1,000 rupees. Cost of doing transplant for thalassemia is 18 lakh rupees. This awareness program should also have parallelly prevention program, and we should talk about it, that prevention is better than cures. We should have more awareness on prevention of thalassemia as well as funding for thalassemia transplants. Thank you everyone.
What are the challenges that you face in India that you want to talk about as an organization operationally?
We just spoke about the barriers in India. Speaking about barriers from the medical point of view, is that when you get a diagnosis, first you have to get a diagnosis. That's already the challenge. You have to find a hematologist who identifies that you're actually suffering from blood cancer or a blood disorder. And then you have to reach to a hospital which is doing the right diagnosis of what kind of disease do you have. And then the next level would be how to treat. So there are so many barriers in between. I can't count them all. Let me pick up on this topic and let's focus on one aspect here today. And tomorrow is the World Thalassaemia Day. And so let me speak a bit more about our thalassemia program, which is actually essential to break one of these barriers. Our World Thalassaemia program is collaboration with multiple partners across India, with NGOs, hospitals, government hospitals as well. These partners creating awareness camps. So they're going into rural areas and their families coming from far away. They're getting information about thalassemia. They're coming with their children. We can identify actually which patient needs help. And that's the crucial part, then they're getting a free HLA typing. And this free HLA typing is a very important step. This costs in India around 5,000, 6,000, sometimes 10,000 INR. And to find the match within the family, you don't have to type only the patient, you have to type the sibling and the parents. So easily you can multiply it with 4. So these costs are not covered by any insurance company. No one is covering it. So here Dkms steps in and we are supporting this activity with free HLA typing. Why is this so important? Because then only this family knows there is an option for cure. This cure is to have a match in the family. We can go then the next step for a stem cell transplantation. Even when there is no match in the family, Dkms can support with an unrelated match. This is a major step. Until now, we supported 12,000 patients in India with free HLA typing. This means in total more than 37,000. Thank you. More than 37,000 HLA typing. Out of this program, more than 800 patients got a second chance at life at transplantation. But there's another part of the story. In India, there are more than 10,000 newborn with thalassemia every year. So 10,000 every year. And today, no one knows this number exactly. Actually, it's very likely that it's more than 15,000. We are aware about this. We have to change. And how we want to change it? What is to scale it up? To make this, that this is only a start of a journey. And how we continue with it, Elke will tell us.
You heard these amazing numbers that we have achieved so far, and it brought us to a certain decision because we think we have to do much more because children are our future. And therefore, we have decided to do free HLA typing in the future for all children under the age of 12 years. And this is what is a promise that we make here today.
A huge round of applause. That's incredible. You want to go ahead with some?
No, please.
Yeah. So for the uninitiated, thalassemia is a blood disorder. It is non-cancerous, and basically what happens is the hemoglobin is not produced adequately. The patient has low blood in the body and the patient fails to thrive. It is a disorder which is genetic, which happens by birth. So it becomes very important. The only curative option that you have apart from giving blood transfusions is a stem cell transplantation. Tomorrow is the World Thalassaemia Day. It happens to be coincidental, and I think this is a brilliant announcement from Dkms, which has gone ahead, initially started probably with the cancerous disorders that were taken care of, but then there are diseases which of the hemoglobin like sickle cell, like thalassemia, which the only curative option that we have is stem cell transplantation.
The good news with thalassemia children that we can transplant is that their survival rate is so high, it's 90% and better, and this is why we go for it, because we can help at the right place, the right moment, and therefore we have to expand this program. We want to maximize the impact, and we do that always together with partners here in India.
I mean, that's so true. It becomes so important because the more you delay, the more of complications that you have with blood transfusions, it can have an irreversible impact. So it is so important to catch them young and transplant them because the outcomes are bad.
Yeah, we want to go for this age because as early as you can detect it, you can help with the sibling, as Patrick already said, for a transplant. And even if this is not possible, we can source a donor which is unrelated. So we never stop. Do not accept a no as an answer.
I mean, that's incredible. My next question is to you, Patrick. Who are your partners in these thalassemia camps in India?
We have more than 18 partners. Please let me not count them all, because I will miss someone and I may miss the most dedicated ones. Yeah, so the story is that you're flying, for example, to Bihar. Yeah, you're landing in Patna. Then you're taking a cab for 8 hours, and then you're reaching an area where you don't have proper streets anymore. And then all these families are coming with their children. Obviously, you have to speak the language. You have to create awareness of it. You have to tell them exactly what it is about. This is the challenge. And here I want to thank all these partners, and with all my due respect about this work, because this is the groundwork which is required. We offering the HLA typing for all thalassemia patients. There's no limit from Dkms side. And this is the message to all our partners. Please don't stop. What Elke says, I ask all the partners to think about the same. Don't stop, have more camps so that we can help more patients in it.
Thank you, Patrick. So tomorrow being World Thalassemia Day, what is your message to the Indian population?
Yeah, that we gonna help all affected little patients so that they can get help from our side. We do a lot. We also do the education of nurses. Yeah, so the whole infrastructure and barriers that we can see, we try to put down. It's a message to families with their children that we can be of help together with our partners. Please help us to get this well known, that there is a solution, that a child can have a fantastic life in the future and can have the profession it was hoping to have, whatever it is, and it gives back laughter in families. And this is the message that I have.
It is such a beautiful and heartwarming announcement, I would say, that we are going to have better access for thalassemia treatment. Dkms says we delete blood cancers, but I think now it's time to say we delete blood diseases, because I think Dkms is going more forward from cancer to non-cancerous diseases.
Indeed, our tagline is, and our mission, our absolute mission is to give as many second chances at life as possible. And this is also for thalassemia, for blood disorders, and for leukemia, which is our origin in our core. But we have to do a lot also for sickle cell anemia. We don't stop. This is a promise.
I think since morning we had this fantastic flow of events, starting from medical related busting myths towards the organization, your vision, how it started, and what's the way forward. Adding a beautiful sprinkling of thalassemia, the focus on thalassemia, stem cell transplantations. I think it should be probably oath that we all here have to take. I'm sure a lot of us I am already registered in the stem cell marrow registry. So I think we need more and more people to come forward. This chat has been a beautiful showcase that Dkms globally and in India is working really hard to give a second chance to people. It is so beautiful, as we already discussed in the morning, that you get a chance to give a second chance to someone with a transplantation when you are living. You get to see the gift of life given to another person when you are alive. It's a beautiful, noble cause which Dkms globally and in India are doing. So with this, let us take our oath that more and more we will spread awareness, and if we are not a part of the donor registry, we shall probably register ourselves so that we have a bigger pool in India. With this, we conclude the fireside chat. Thank you, Dr. LK. Thank you, Patrick. It was fantastic interacting with you.
Take a round of applause for our panelists. Of course, that was quite a great announcement that you just made, and to commemorate this with a great reveal on that note, I'd like to request Elka now to go ahead and announce the new initiative by unveiling this plaque that we have.
Cannot open it. Sorry. I have no fingernails. This is what we do. Free HLA typing for all things.
To even maybe work with this, for example, some local NGO there. So they normally work, for example, with the transfusion camps there or the station there, right? So they know these patients and then they reach out to them and then they're creating this camp. So they are, I would say, well trained in the way that we try to put some standards in so that, for example, very simple way, so that we get the phone number, that we can reach to the patient again, that we can reach to the family, so that we can track them. It's very important. We hand over the HLA typing reports, right? This is a very technical thing. Obviously, a normal person cannot read this, but that they get this information done, and then after that, that they can reach back to the organizers or to us to do the following steps, right? So that's from a language perspective, India is a continent, let me call it. It's a huge country. And in general, today in the morning, Reshma was on the stage. She speaks 12 languages. We are a team of 100 people. We help each other. I'm the only one in the office who can speak German, let's say. But we have, and I'm very bad at languages, but we have so many people, and you know, in India it's very common to speak even 3 to 4 languages, especially in the south. So I'm very happy our colleagues support each other, and when we're going to several regions, then we speak the local language. While one important point I want to make, when it comes to donation, then it's very important that people understand the process. And a donation is a voluntary process. So they have to understand it. This is our responsibility. This has to be on a level that, so we have a consent form and this has to be signed, and we have to ensure that they understand what is written there.
Yes, sir. You say that understanding this process is important, and my suggestion will be, why can't we, like Dkms, can arrange some sort of awareness program in different parts of India, like Orissa, the state of capital city is Bhubaneswar. So like capital city in Bhubaneswar, or Guwahati you see in Assam. So let's this sort of like awareness program. Suppose your organization can start. That will be added more.
For our other activities, we are working pan-India already.
Yeah, Patrick, you mentioned about the need of the donors, young donors, right? So age category, you're looking at it. Also, the donors so far who have donated, are they from the rural background or urban background?
Thank you again, a very good question. First, legally, you are allowed to donate in India with the age of 18. and you are also can only register with the age of 80. We start with the age of. How we reach out to donors is options. One is we're going to colleges, universities. We have a lot of university partners pan-India. There we are registering donors, we call this offline. Also we're working with corporates. And the second channel we call this is online. So you can visit our website. When you visit our website, on the right corner you will see a button registry, and then you can just click on this. You're going through the process. There are 11 slides where you have to fill your data, and then you will get a kit with a bucket swap, the consent form. It will be delivered to you at home. Then you're swapping, you're sending the kit back. It's all free. It's all for free for the donors, and then it will reach us, and then it will go the process. So to answer your question, to whom we're reaching, obviously at the start we're reaching more to the metro cities, right? Metros, tier 1 cities, but also we are working, for example, with influencers. Here we are reaching out also to tier 2, tier 3 cities. So there's no limitation. That we have donors from rural areas it's not happening so often.
What is the ratio like? One is the relation, the siblings, another one is non-relatives, right? So, but the blood matching.
No, what I just explained is obviously only the unrelated. When we're talking about thalassemia, most of the cases we are supporting, talking about sibling donors, sometimes haplo, which means the parents, or then also unrelated. Sibling donors, obviously, it's a sibling, so they are living with their sibling, and so they're coming obviously from the same area. This is a question to whom?
Whoever.
Okay. Let me start, and then I give the mic to Dr. Govind so that he can add. So first, it's what HLA typing is actually something very expensive. In India, I see a lot of progress with regards to the health sector and the development in the health sector. All this is about resources in the end, where the government puts the resources in. There was a couple of years ago, the government defined rare disease, and thalassemia is a rare disease while it's on top. So thalassemia is actually the most common rare disease. This is one of the steps the government took to focus more on thalassemia, for example. And in the last 5 years, I see a lot of activities, not so much from the central government maybe, but a lot from state governments. Like in Tamil Nadu, transplants will be supported now. Andhra Pradesh has a scheme. Rajasthan has a scheme. So we have several states in India who are already supporting that. That's why Dkms wants to gap. We want to fill this gap of support. So we are fine with helping HLA typing. We are fine with post-transplant support because this is not given you.
Yeah, so we do not have actually a national program for this. Purely because the disease burden is not as much as the more immediate issues of sanitation and non-communicable diseases and communicable diseases that we have in India from pure incidence perspective. Let's say we got 5 per 100,000 leukemics. Trust me, out of these 5, 3 will die before even reaching any general physician. And it's a question of then these 2 who will actually have the access to reach the right doctor through pure referral. Nobody comes looking for a hematologist. I got leukemia. It generally is a question of referral. So where do you end up first? Who looks at this? Other countries, I would say, have a system called the family physician or a general physician based. There's a proper referral system. Half the time they don't reach you. If they do reach you, they will be from a diaspora that's already impoverished. Any kind of treatment for thalassemia or leukemia costs a lot of money. It is a privilege of the so-called well-to-do or those who have a good insurance that they've thought about these things. Things are changing. The government is looking at thalassemia, though I would differ, sickle actually is far more prevalent than thals. But again, sickle is only in certain belts, and they come from the really tribal, backward, not really there in the system. So their access to therapies is going to be, they'll be probably looking for fever management and cholera and typhoid, and those kind of situations would be realistic than looking at a few sickles somewhere in the west of Maharashtra and Gujarat. And they're realistic issues, but they cost a lot of money. One, to diagnose, one, to get to the right place. Now, if you look at leukemias per se, by the time you're finishing with induction therapy, the patient would be at least 8 to 10 lakhs back. Depending on the seriousness of further complications, you make it to ICU and then you get to a transplant. So you kind of finished significant amount of money. From an Indian perspective, that is expensive. So the government is taking cognizance of this. I think thalassemia has got a better risk-benefit assessment for a transplant outcome perspective, and it is something that you can cure. So all eyes on sickle and thalassemias will occur. For example, now there are a lot of corporates with support. The Coal India gives you a grant for so many lakhs for a transplant in thalassemia. There's a PM fund. PM Jai Yojana right now, if I correctly understand, Ayushman Bharat does give you cover for thals for a certain amount in pediatrics. So again, my bone of contention with both Elke and Patrick is that, let's extend this HLA free to leukemics who are PPL, who have some, just keeping it for pediatric thalassemias, I understand, that is a better home run situation there. But then there are so many more who could really, it's for any other government medical college in India, right? Patients come there because they get very good treatment for cheap or for free, which means delays, which means a lot of things. So the system has to be ready to work on the acuity and speed which a leukemic or a thalassemic needs, because they will die within 24 hours if you don't take care of it. If you don't, at the crux of all this is nursing and good infra. You cannot do a transplant without good nurses. You need specialized nurses, those kind of practices, and develop a team so that you safely can cater to all that come. Not everybody needs a transplant, but the infra puts a lot of money as a capex. You should be willing to do that, and there has to be a 10-15 year kind of a timeline. You're looking at a pipe dream that by 2026 or by 2032, we would have screened at least 2 million thalassemics, made sure that we do prenatal diagnosis, we do genetic counseling, that we don't get more thalassemics. I assure you, at least 30% of us sitting here are thalassemia trait. You can't tell the difference, you look just fine. And then that's just because out of the 2 genes that code, one is working, one is not. If both don't work, you get beta thalassemia major, you die by 5. And then you keep themselves alive by giving more blood. So the amount of morbidity, time and blood transfusion support that goes in to keeping a thalassemic alive, that hidden cost can be offset by upfront transplant. Because then you don't have recurring costs of transfusion, iron overload, then you decrease the iron by chelation therapy. So transfusing them appropriately, bringing them to a transplant for thalassemia majors and finding a donor, because thals you don't want to do haplo, you don't want to do mismatched. The outcomes are pathetic and things are going to change over time as we get little more. For example, you can select certain bad side effect producing items like delete them. When you collect the stem cells, you can expand the NKs and try and keep the gamma delta fraction up. A lot of new things can change, but none of this is under the corporate policy of trying to even try and get an allogenic transplant working full time. Because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of infra, it takes a lot of HR personnel. And it's a golf swing, you gotta do it right every single time. It needs focus, it's a sacred space, it's not for revenue. When it's there, everything has to be done right, which means a lot of cost. I don't think India is ready for that just yet, because that's not one of our real felt items in terms of all the trouble that diabetes and hypertension and malaria and tuberculosis is killing, right? So I think things will change. Each state has a different policy. I think Karnataka is seeing it much better than many other states are. So there's hope. And I'm pretty sure over time there will be centers which will be government centers, hopefully, fact accredited over time, next 5-10 years. And they could really change the landscape of not just thalassemia, all hematological diseases in India. Hematology is the most prevalent problem and the most underdiagnosed. Apart from cancer, it would also get a fillip for most benign problems, which are really far more commoner and gratifying to treat because the outcomes are so much better. So there are about 10 people in the Hall of 50. That just sees what we are like. Unless the problem doesn't wash up to my shore, it's not my problem. This is beyond that. You need to go and give, do your best, probably be hopeful that somebody somewhere will help, get some help. Because if you're a match, you change the lives of the entire family. Because, otherwise that person is dead and you're the only one who can do that. Nobody else in the rest of the world can do that. So isn't that a privilege? Why? Because we aren't givers. We don't want to give blood. Why would we give kidneys or liver or stem cells? We don't do that. It's not something that is common to us. We should change that thinking. When we start getting blood transfusion donors, the stem cell problem will automatically change. People will change. They just don't want to give unless your son is involved in a car accident and you want B negative blood. WhatsApp's flashing all over the place, But how often have you thought of, hey, I'm feeling great, why don't we just go to the blood bank and give blood? Try that. Maybe as we change, things will change. We don't have blood, sir. We're at 35% deficit. So leave alone stem cells. We don't even have blood in most places to match up for the demand. If we were a smaller country with less feeding mouths, we would be brilliant. But we aren't. There are different stratas for different costs and not everybody can afford that. So that's where all this comes in. Because immunophenotyping of blood, making sure the right donor is found, this all costs a lot of money. And it's at a genetic level that things are being done. This can't be really rolled out like that on a policy where the government is willing to take such a big hit in terms of a capex.
These families don't get a time, except we are coming and working with his partners and offering them. That's the fact. To answer your question, when you're looking on the private market of laboratories who are offering HLA typing, and it costs between, like I said, 5,000 INR and 10,000 INR. So these are the market costs. Family has to depend on to which hospital or which laboratory you're going.
But I would love to add, I mean, HLA typing is for free now, but it's the start. Yeah, if you know you have a sibling in your family and you know I can get a transplant for my child, then it starts, and we do much more for thalassemia children. The next step then will be that we help, if they get a transplant, that we take over costs for families who cannot afford it, so we pay a third of it. The good thing is that thalassemia transplant is much less expensive than a leukemia transplant. So we can count, I can only say it in euros, I'm sorry somebody has to help me then, your currency, it's about 12,000. And this low-cost transplant was brought here by Lawrence Faulkner for thalassemia children who's fighting for their lives. And with him together and with Sankar, we have different units built in Ahmedabad, in Bangalore, in Vellore, to do these transplantations. And even after that, we are helping with post-transplant because many, many families want to have a better life after that. They spend a lot of money. The village where they are living, they are collecting the money to help them. This is a big burden, yeah, and then you have to really look after them. What's after it? How can my child have a fantastic life and can marry? So we try to help the whole circle, the whole process of a thalassemia child. It's not only HLA, but HLA is the beginning, and therefore we do it for free now.
Thank you so much. You know, there's never enough time for these things, but thank you to our members of the media for asking the questions. Thank you to our panelists, of course, for answering so brilliantly. Let's go ahead and give them a big round of applause for taking their time. I assure you there will be more time to ask them questions, so please feel free later on to do just that. Thank you so much to our panelists.